The restaurant was too bright, the music too cheerful, and Marcus sat alone at a table for two, watching the minutes tick past on his phone. 45 minutes late. No text, no call, just silence and the pitying glances from the waiter, who'd refilled his water glass 3 times already. He should leave. He knew he should leave. But something, pride maybe, or just the stubborn hope that this time would be different, kept him planted in his seat, feeling smaller with each passing second. Marcus Chen hadn't wanted to go on this blind date in the first place. After his divorce 2 years ago, he'd convinced himself that he was fine alone. Better than fine, actually. No arguments about whose turn it was to take out the trash. No silent dinners where resentment hung heavier than the smell of burnt casserole. Just him, his accounting firm, and weekend basketball games with guys who never asked about his personal life. But his sister Claire had worn him down with her relentless optimism, insisting that her friend's cousin was perfect for him, kind, funny, loved old movies just like he did. Just one date, Claire had pleaded. What's the worst that could happen? Well, this was apparently the worst. Sitting in Paolo's Italian bistro on a Friday night, surrounded by couples laughing over shared plates of pasta, while he waited for someone who clearly had no intention of showing up, Marcus signaled for the check, ready to salvage what remained of his dignity, when a small hand tugged at his sleeve. "Excuse me, mister?" He looked down to find a little girl, maybe 6 years old, with dark curls escaping from lopsided pigtails and serious, brown eyes that seemed too old for her round face. She wore a purple jacket with a unicorn patch, slightly worn at the elbows, and sneakers that lit up when she shifted her weight nervously from foot to foot. "My mommy's sorry she's late," the girl announced, her voice carrying that particular confidence. Children have before the world teaches them to doubt themselves. "She's parking the car. Well, actually, we took the bus because our car is broken again. But she said to tell you she's really, really sorry and please don't leave." Marcus blinked, his prepared exit speech dissolving on his tongue. "Your mommy?" "Uh-huh. You're Marcus, right? The accountant who likes old movies and plays basketball." The girl climbed uninvited into the chair across from him, swinging her legs beneath the table. "Mommy showed me your picture. You look nicer in person. In the picture you looked kind of serious." "I was at work," Marcus said automatically, then caught himself. "Wait, who exactly is your mom?" "Sarah Mitchell. She's a nurse. She works at St. Mary's Hospital, the big one downtown with the green windows." The girl unzipped her jacket, revealing a T-shirt with a faded rainbow. "I'm Emma. I'm 6 3/4, which is almost 7, which is basically a grown-up." Before Marcus could respond, a woman rushed through the restaurant's entrance, her hair disheveled, her scrubs visible beneath a hastily thrown-on cardigan. She spotted their table and her face, flushed from running, marked with exhaustion, flooded with relief and mortification in equal measure. "Emma, sweetie, I told you to wait outside," Sarah said breathlessly, reaching their table. She looked at Marcus and he saw genuine distress in her green eyes. "I am so sorry. Our babysitter cancelled last minute, and I couldn't find anyone else. And then the bus was delayed. And I know this isn't what you signed up for. I completely understand if you want to leave." Marcus should have wanted to leave. This was messy, complicated, everything he'd been avoiding since his divorce. His ex-wife had always complained that he liked things neat, predictable, controlled. "You're afraid of anything that doesn't fit in your little spreadsheets," she'd said during their last argument. Maybe she'd been right. But something stopped him. Maybe it was the way Sarah held herself. Proud despite her obvious exhaustion, apologetic but not pathetic. Maybe it was Emma, who'd climbed back down from the chair and now stood close to her mother, her small hand finding Sarah's like a magnet seeking north. Or maybe it was the sudden realization that the worst that could happen wasn't being stood up. The worst was walking away from something real, because it didn't arrive wrapped in perfect packaging. "Please sit," Marcus heard himself say. "Both of you." Sarah's eyes widened. "You don't have to." "I know I don't have to, but I'd like to. That is, if Emma doesn't mind sharing her mom for dinner." Emma assessed him with the gravity of a Supreme Court justice. "Do you like chicken nuggets?" I haven't had them in years, Marcus admitted. Then you need them, Emma declared, settling back into her chair with the air of someone who'd just solved a complex diplomatic crisis. Everybody needs chicken nuggets sometimes. Sarah laughed, and the sound transformed her face. She slid into the booth beside her daughter, still looking uncertain. Thank you, really. This is not how I imagined tonight going. How did you imagine it? Marcus asked, genuinely curious now. Honestly, I almost cancelled 3 times today. Sarah's smile turned rueful. I haven't been on a date since Emma's father left when she was 2. Work is crazy. I just pulled a double shift because we're short-staffed. My car died last week and I can't afford to fix it until next month. And bringing my daughter to a blind date is probably the most disastrous first impression in the history of first impressions. It's definitely memorable, Marcus agreed. Then, surprising himself, he added, but maybe disastrous is the wrong word. Maybe it's just honest. Emma, who'd been studying the menu upside down, looked up suddenly. Mommy says honesty is the best policy, except when Grandma asks if you like her meatloaf. Emma! Sarah's cheeks flushed deeper, but she was laughing. What? It's true. You told Aunt Claire that Grandma's meatloaf tastes like cardboard had a baby with disappointment. Marcus found himself laughing too, really laughing, in a way he hadn't in months. The waiter appeared, clearly bemused by the transformation of the abandoned man into this unlikely trio, and they ordered chicken parmigiana for Sarah, chicken nuggets and fries for Emma, and Marcus, feeling reckless, ordered the special despite having no idea what it was. As they waited for food, Emma regaled him with stories about her kindergarten class, her best friend Tyler who ate paste, and her conviction that her teacher was actually a superhero in disguise. Sarah interjected with corrections and apologies, but Marcus waved them away. He found himself genuinely enchanted by this precocious little girl who spoke with her whole body, whose enthusiasm was infectious, who made him remember what it felt like to find the world full of possibilities instead of problems. Emma draws, Sarah said softly during a rare pause in her daughter's monologue. She's incredibly talented. I'm going to be an artist when I grow up, Emma announced. Or a veterinarian. Or maybe both. Can you be both? I don't see why not, Marcus said. You could draw animals all day and then take care of them. Emma's eyes lit up like he'd revealed the secrets of the universe. That's the best idea ever. As dinner progressed, Sarah gradually relaxed. She told him about nursing school, about working her way through it as a single mother, about the patients who broke her heart, and the ones who reminded her why she'd chosen such a grueling profession. She spoke about her dreams, small dreams, she called them, though Marcus thought they were anything but. A reliable car, a 2-bedroom apartment so Emma could have her own room, maybe someday going back to school to become a nurse practitioner. What about you? Sarah asked, and Marcus realized he'd been so absorbed in listening that he'd forgotten to talk about himself. Claire said you're an accountant. The most boring profession in the world, according to my ex-wife. Mommy says boring is underrated, Emma piped up, ketchup on her chin. She says boring means safe and predictable, and that's good. Sarah flushed. I may have said that during a particularly chaotic week. But Marcus shook his head. She's not wrong. I used to think boring was bad too. My ex wanted excitement, spontaneity. She said I was too careful, too cautious. When she left, I thought maybe she was right. But lately, I've been wondering if there's something to be said for showing up. Being reliable, choosing steadiness over fireworks. Sarah met his eyes across the table, and something passed between them. Recognition, maybe, or understanding. They were both people who'd been burned, who'd learned to protect themselves, who'd built walls out of necessity. But here they were, walls cracking, sharing a meal that had started as disaster and somehow transformed into something else entirely. Emma yawned, her earlier energy finally flagging. Without asking, she climbed from her chair and curled up against her mother's side. Sarah stroked her daughter's hair absently, and Marcus felt something shift in his chest. This was intimacy, not the manufactured kind from dating profiles, but the real, messy, beautiful kind. A tired child, a mother's instinctive comfort. The trust of letting someone see you at your most vulnerable. "I should get her home," Sarah said reluctantly. "It's way past bedtime." "I'm sorry." "Stop apologizing," Marcus said gently. He signaled for the check, but when it came, Sarah reached for her purse. "Let me at least split." "Absolutely not." His tone was firm but kind. "This is a date, and despite what you think, it's been one of the best dates I've ever been on." Sarah looked at him with those tired green eyes, and he saw the wall crack a little more. "You don't have to say that." "I'm an accountant," Marcus said with a slight smile. "We're not known for being polite liars. We deal in facts, and the fact is, I had a really good time tonight. With both of you." Outside the restaurant, the evening had turned cool. Sarah adjusted Emma, who'd fallen asleep against her shoulder, and looked at Marcus with something that might have been hope. "Can I call you?" he asked. "Not for another date, necessarily. Just to talk." "I'd like that," Sarah said softly. Then, with a courage he recognized because he was feeling it too, she added, "But I should warn you, this is my life. It's messy and complicated. I have a daughter who will always come first. I work crazy hours. I'm broke most of the time. I don't have it together, and I probably won't for a long time." Marcus thought about his empty apartment, his carefully organized life, his spreadsheets and routines. He thought about how none of it had made him happy, how he'd been going through motions instead of actually living. He looked at this brave woman holding her sleeping child, offering honesty instead of pretense, showing him what real courage looked like. "I don't have it together either," he admitted. "I've just been better at hiding it. Maybe we could try not having it together." "Together?" Sarah laughed, and it sounded like relief, like hope, like the beginning of something neither of them had dared to imagine. "That might be the most romantic thing anyone's ever said to me." Marcus helped them to the bus stop, waited with them despite Sarah's protests. When the bus arrived, Emma stirred long enough to mumble, "Bye, Marcus. You're nice. Come see my drawings sometime." "I'd love that," he said, and meant it with his whole heart. As the bus pulled away, Sarah turned in her seat to wave through the window. Marcus waved back, standing alone on the corner but feeling less alone than he had in 2 years. His phone buzzed, a text from Claire asking how it went. He typed back, "It was perfect. Messy and unexpected and absolutely perfect." Because sometimes the best things in life don't arrive on time, wrapped in neat packages. Sometimes they arrive late, disheveled, with a 6-year-old in tow and ketchup stains on their shirt. Sometimes they come with complications and chaos, and 100 reasons why it won't work. And sometimes, if you're brave enough to stay seated when everything tells you to leave, you discover that imperfect is exactly what you'd been missing all along. Marcus walked home through the city streets, his hands in his pockets, a smile on his face. He'd come to the restaurant looking for a date. He'd found something infinitely better, a glimpse of what life could be when you stopped, trying to control every variable, and started saying yes to the beautiful, messy uncertainty of it all. 3 months later, Emma would draw him a picture. Her mom, and a tall man with a smile, all holding hands under a rainbow. Sarah would frame it and hang it in the 2-bedroom apartment Marcus helped them move into. But that night, walking home alone, he carried something more precious than any picture. The knowledge that sometimes the empty chair you're dreading can be filled with more love than you ever imagined possible. All it takes is staying. All it takes is being brave enough to let messy and beautiful walk through the door and change everything.